This is EMR Update Mission Control Room based in London, England. I'm here to give you a preview of what's news on EMR Update for the last month, October 2007. We're a bit late getting organised, that's my fault with technology. We'll start off with a review of the top 10 posts from our front page from the EMR forum and run through some of the other interesting things happening here at EMR Update. Our first story was sending Robert Gleeman off to investigate Sermo and its 26.7 million injection of cash. So he recruited Dr. Alberto Borges, who joined Sermo, and then reported back that of the 26.7 million US dollars of prescription, he'd managed to secure some $60 from his medical posts. So if you've seen Dr. Al Borges' signature lately, you'll notice it's got a few promotions asking you to recommend, if you're recommended to Sermo, to mention his name. I think he's looking for more money. So thanks to Al Borges for getting in and finding out what this community is all about. Our next story concerned CCHIT, well, that's one way of pronouncing it, which is, as always, a fairly hot and humid topic. The article here went in to discuss that you should not only select a CCHIT product, but importantly one that's certified for 2007. I presume that means 2008 as well when certification comes around. So there's some responses in here talking about, well, what are you trying to do? Create an EMR shortage because there's only probably 8 products which support 2007 certification. So we can see some excellent graphics from Patrick and some more response from the regulars on this thread. Our next topic is an excellent subject raised by Dr. Quitt concerning EMR granularity. This is really a tennis match between Dr. Quitt and Dr. Matt Chase. So the discussion here is really getting into the detail of your EMR package, and if you need that granularity you have to have it right from the start within the data items, data fields within your EMR product. So a good discussion, one that's been going on for some time and will probably continue. Our next thread went into yet more CCHIT discussion, really for the vendors, asking them did it hurt or hinder their sales efforts. We then sort of returned to granularity with Dr. Quitt discussing Medicare pay for performance, and within this gets back to how granularity of EMR data can actually help pay for performance within the Medicare programs. One thing we do at EMR Update is we just don't delete anything, so we have some very important threads that go back to as early as 2002, but this one back to 2004, talking about how you're using, or if you're using, an EMR in your practice. So this really is one of the classics. It's a who's who of who's been supporting the EMR Update forum for many, many years. So these are all long-term members and supporters of the forum, and really worth a read to get a feel for how EMR is being used in different practices. Next up we have a pretty useful discussion talking about hosted solutions versus software and hardware installed within your doctor's practice. This gets a little bit technical in places, but goes through some of the costings, some of the benefits and some of the drawbacks of going for a hosted ASP, an application service provider, versus installing software within your own doctor's practice with the help of your EMR vendor. So some good commentary and good advice from some experienced doctor and vendor relationships. Another quality thread from Dr. Quitt talking about how surgical specialties really do need an EMR, and certainly the feedback from this thread is absolutely that is the case. So worth a read, step into the discussion with Dr. Quitt and see if you can contribute from your doctor's perspective. just to finish off this section, we wanted to just highlight the fact that EMR Update does contain a number of different forums. We really can't win. If we do move a thread to its correct forum, we get complaints. If we don't move a thread, we get complaints. We're just asking that if you can, place your subject into the appropriate forum. It could be EMR, Billings, CCHIT, Medical Voice Recognition, Medicine, IT, Free Software, and the forum that I look after, the Friday Funnies. If things do get out of hand, we can move stuff to the Move Posts area. Just while we're here, we can see down the right hand side a set of popular tags, and these are typically product related, but could be any type of technical term or subject that's being discussed inside the forums. When you post a post, you can add a tag which may display in this section. Some other tips and hints for you: if you're looking for posts that you've written, you can hit the My Discussions tab, and you've got a list across all forums or specific forum for 3 months or a specific time period that you've posted onto the forum. So that was really My Discussions. What's more interesting is probably to think about what's being discussed now at EMR Update, and we have the active hyperlink, which gives you across all forums what's new and being discussed. So that's a good way of seeing what discussions you've visited, haven't seen, or need to keep track of. One additional tip we do have, just for you adding content into posts that you're putting onto EMR Update, is a recent one from Al Borges asking how do we place YouTube content onto EMR Update. So here's a reply I did for Alberto. I'll just edit this so we can see how we arrived at that content. So I have a YouTube code which was derived from this URL. So I've simply removed the URL in front of the code. I've added a square bracket, YouTube : and then a square bracket, and that's reproduced that video presentation. We can also support Wikipedia content, so if you would like to add a Wikipedia reference to Boeing, we can just add that reference to Wikipedia, and I can complete the edit of that post. So there you go, Alberto, you have a Boeing video and you've got a reference to Boeing from Wikipedia. So I should have left a bit more space, but I hope you get the idea. And finally, don't forget the footer. We have a site-weight footer which gives access to all of our supporting sponsors. We thank them for their support. You can contact Robert. You can look at the Getting Starting for Doctors, our blogs, our forums, and our interviews, interviewing interesting EMR vendors and doctors about their experience within our industry. That's the end of the top tips for November 2007. Thank you.